Hi, everyone. Um, the other day I came across that prayer, I believe it is, the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think that's so hard when it comes to our adult children. I know it has been for me. I think probably one of the most difficult things I've found about aging is accepting that my adult children make their own decisions and have their own lives, and I can't fix their problems when they have them, when they arise. And it's so difficult. And the reason that I titled, oh, my cat, but that's Fern. The reason I titled the video, uh, How to Be Happy When Your Adult Child Isn't, is because I think when you have children at home, that if they have major problems or issues, it's pretty much impossible to be happy. I mean, that's kind of sad to say, but I'm glad that today people, this is kind of going off track a little bit, but I've noticed today that younger people wait longer to not only wait longer to have kids, but sometimes don't have kids at all. Because I think it's important to ask yourself questions before you have children. Am I equipped to deal with the problems that could arise with this child? And back when I had kids in the 80s, I didn't even think about that. Honest to God, I just thought, oh, we're having a baby, and I mean that's how you want to think. You want to think everything's going to be wonderful. Um, but recently, I had a family member whose son committed suicide, and he was in his early 20s. And my heart just went out to her. But there are so many things that can go wrong. Drug abuse, alcoholism, mental health issues. I mean, you could go on and on and on. I mean, just the things that can come up in your child's life. And when they still live at home, it's definitely a part of your problem. But then when they move out, it's hard to let that go. I think especially mothers, I mean, fathers weigh in here if you feel the same way, but I think especially mothers just, they have that need to fix everything. And there comes a point where we have to accept that we can't fix everything. And that even though we can have empathy for our adult child, for what they're going through, the key is having empathy, but not internalizing their pain as your own, because you've got your own stuff you've got to go through in life. And internalizing every painful moment that your children, and then you have grandchildren, and then they become part of the things that you worry about too, it can really be difficult. So I wanted to share today some of the things that I do that have helped me to cope with these kinds of issues. And I've had some pretty big ones that I've gotten through. Obviously, I would never compromise my children's privacy. by talking about it on YouTube, but I've had some pretty big issues I've had to deal with. And I think the thing that has helped me the most, and I will go on and on about the law of attraction in my videos, because if you watched my video on how the law of attraction changed my life, it really did change my life and change the way that I am able to deal and cope with things like this. But one of the things that really helps me when I'm going through a tough time with one of my kids or worrying about one of my grandchildren is doing EFT tapping. And I've talked about EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping, in some of my other videos. And it has really been a game changer in dealing with things. And I've also, I think I've got a link to Brad Yates' tapping channel. And I've had a few people ask me, oh, explain the tapping. Well, he is an expert in EFT. And if you go to his channel, he has videos on how to start tapping. And then he has videos on, he's been doing this for like 15 years, videos on tapping for all kinds of things that come up in your life. And not just negative things. He also has tapping for, achieving success or attracting more money into your life and things like that. But another tapping video that I do, especially when dealing with issues with my adult children, is it's called a tapping meditation with Jessica Ortner, I think is her last name. But it's called a surrogate tapping meditation, I think is what it's called. But I will include a link to it in the description. And that, when I've done that tapping, it gets pretty emotional. You feel the feelings coming up and kind of letting go of some of the feelings. It's really a good one. The only thing I don't like about her tapping videos, and the reason I prefer Brad's, is because she has music and ocean sounds in the background, and I kind of prefer it without that. But, you just kind of have to get past that with this particular video. Another thing I do is I sit down at my table and I write down whatever the problem is. Whatever, we're dealing with, my adult children, and then write down ways that I could possibly help. This, for some reason, this kind of helps take it out of your head and put it down on paper, and it helps you to realize, can I help this person with this problem or can I not? And if I can help, what can I do? Write down the many things. What could I do to help? If it's a mental health issue, can you help them find a counselor? Can you possibly go to counseling with them? If it's a financial issue, can you or are you willing to help? And if so, how much? And then it kind of gives you a guideline of, this is what I'm willing to do. This is what I can do. This is what the problem is. Instead of just stewing about it all day and ruminating about it, which is, I think that's one of the hardest things about aging, is ruminating about things. And the only thing that has helped me get over ruminating is tapping and meditation and distracting myself with other things. But I used to like to watch the Kardashians. They were kind of my guilty pleasure, but I don't even have cable anymore. So Kris Jenner said something one time, though, that really really struck me. She said she was having some kind of a problem. Rob, the boy, is always seems to give her the most grief. She said, "You're never happier than your least happiest child." And I thought, wow, that can be a little bit true. It can be difficult to be happier than your child that's unhappy. But I think the only way to do that is to let go of the mindset that you had when you had kids at home. You have to let go of that and try to move back towards the mindset that you had when you were younger, where you thought about your own life and your own interests. Cultivate your own interests, learn something new, do something that really challenges you, and take the focus back to yourself. Because if you go through your entire senior life with the same attitude about your kids that you had when they lived at home, you are going to be miserable. I know, I've been there, I've done that. And the three things that I would say helped me the most, the three things would be meditation, and doing meditation like I suggested in my other videos. And that is not a guided meditation, but meditation where you focus on nothing. Because for some reason that does, and I can't explain why. I do have a degree in sociology and psychology, but I don't know what that does to your brain, but it does something. And it just is really helpful as far as being able to sleep better, to be able to think more positively. And you also have to learn to control your thoughts, and only you can control your thoughts. And if you keep ruminating about your kids or your grandkids, then try to redirect your thoughts. And remember what I said, you can't stop a thought. You have to redirect your thoughts. Look at something else, pay attention to something else, go for a walk, take a nap, or redirects, I should say, those thoughts. The other thing, like I said, is EFT tapping. If you are not including tapping in your life, then you are, I can't even tell you, how much it changes your life. It also, not only does it affect the way that you think, it also makes you feel like you're doing something. You know how sometimes you just want to do something, and it just is really, really helpful. Another thing that I think that helps is just being around other, like, family members that support you, that help you to feel like spending time with one of my aunts that are like 80 years old. They just comfort me. I'm not saying go there and talk about the problem, because I don't suggest going around to other family members or friends and talking about what's going on with your adult child, because in my opinion, it does not help, because you are focusing your mind on the problem, and they aren't going to be able to solve your problem. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely will they be able to solve your problem, your adult child's problem. But just sometimes spending time with someone that you find comforting is really helpful. But those are the tips I have on how to cope when your child is unhappy. If you have any suggestions on things that you use to cope in these situations, then please feel free to include that in the comments below. Oh, I did want to mention, I still have not heard back from YouTube on monetization. I haven't been invited into the YouTube partnership program, even though I met the criteria days ago. So it's been kind of disappointing. I plan on putting out a little thank you video when I do get monetized, but you know, if you're a YouTuber out there and you've got any idea of why this is taking so long, or to give me an idea, how long did it take for you? I met the requirements on Friday, so it's been several days, but nothing yet. So hopefully the next time you see me on here, it will be thank you. Maybe I'll do the surprise look. Oh, I got monetized. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a good one and take care.